Do you want to do like the introduction this time? It's episode 46, isn't it?
Yeah. Welcome to episode 46 of Wheels and Wings podcast. We're in the workshop again. There's a reason for that. It enables us to actually put some podcasts out.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Did get like a fair bit of stick in the last one. The last one did really well.
Yeah.
And I think it is, I know like there was a few comments saying that like, oh, New Work's just not as good vibe as the bar and stuff like that. I mean, for us, it's fine. It's we don't really notice any different. We're just here having a beer and having a chat. It's quite nice having some of the toys around us to sort of talk about and stuff like that as well, and some props. But also, it does mean that we are just doing them instead, because like the audio quality is better in here because we haven't got the chiller going and noises and stuff from the bar, and it's lighter and brighter, which means the camera quality is loads better.
Yeah.
Doing it in the bar, it's very limiting to what we can sort of put out. But also, I can't park anywhere near it. It's now 5 p.m, so if I can't park anywhere near it before 6 p.m, and like I have to bring $2,000 almost worth of camera gear to the bar in a bag. It's just not ideal.
And it's not that we'll never do another one in the bar. It's just like we decided it's better to put stuff out. And come on, it's not bad, is it?
Yeah, that's it. We're still going to do them in the bar. They are still going to, happen. But it's just to do them more regularly. It's easier to just like do them when we can, really.
Yeah. So that's that.
And we're hoping we've got like a vague idea where we're going to sort of try and get these out every 2 weeks.
Yep, that'd be really good.
But anyway. Enough about us. How are you?
I've got two. So in the last one, I said, because I'm a MotoGP fan, and there was in the comments somebody. Oh, I should really know who it is, but anyway, I'll give.
Well, I'll see. You find out who it was, and I'll say it. So, the ride height thing. Wynne said that it was phased out on the motorcycles. But it isn't until next year. Is it next year, 2027?
Yeah, 2027. So it is going.
Yeah, so it was just a gentleman had corrected Wynne, which if you could all do more regularly,
we're really good.
That'd be handy. And me, of course. We just constantly get things wrong.
You know what it does? It only allows you to see unresponded in the thing. I'll
just pull it up, Jamie.
Yeah, we haven't got a Jamie, have we?
No, we haven't.
Be good, that. So that was, I want to say that. So thank you very much for that. Always, if we get something wrong, let us know. Absolutely.
Not that we ever do, of course.
No, we ever do.
Have you found it yet?
No. I've stopped looking.
Why?
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just finding it because you can't
Technically inept.
Technically inept. Because we've only had like 12 comments, so it would probably be good to actually find the person that has.
70 comments.
70 comments? Yeah, but 35 of them are you responding.
Oh, yeah, there is that.
Yeah. So there you go. You just click that. God, there is quite a... yeah, so it was... Look how quickly it took me to find that. Gavin Anderson.
Thanks, Gav.
Thanks, Gavin. It's very, very kind of you. But yeah, some amazing comments. Dinosaur Dad, who's been around since the first one, great. Yeah. He said, shorter horses is my de-stress video.
I love that.
And it is kind of mine as well. I do listen back to it every now and then.
Yeah, I need to, what I'll try and do is get some clips out of some of the funny moments. We were going back through, because we make notes for the podcast. We're going back through some of them.
Should we have a look at some of those?
Yeah, it's great. Some of it makes no sense.
Go on, get yours up,
like
and
I'll
get mine up. I don't know if I'll try and zoom into my screen here. I'm never going to be able to see how good this camera is, but that is like all of the notes we make for the podcast, and some of them are so funny. We've obviously written these down when we're pissed.
What about pig's cheeks? So we went out for a meal, didn't we, at this like tapas place.
Yeah.
And she must have been like
Poor
19, girl. Bless her. And she comes up to the table. She's only young. And we'd had a few beers, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And there was a table full of people.
Yeah.
And she says, I've got 2 pig's cheeks. And I said, don't be so hard on yourself. There's no need for it.
No.
I did apologise to her afterwards.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
You did.
But yeah, there's been playing your go to sleep playlist during the day.
What is that about?
I don't know. These are all things we've talked about in, or we tried to talk about in other podcasts and things, but just maybe never got them out. Chinese racing spoon.
What does that mean?
Well, that's what Tom used to have when. So when we get a Chinese, you'd say to him, "Do you want a fork or a spoon?" And he'd go, "I'll have my Chinese racing spoon, please." And he'd sit there like that, and he'd just shovel it in like a water wheel.
Yeah.
At a rate of knots.
There was a guy on 230 Squadron, and nobody could pronounce his name.
Oh, really?
And his last name was Jochimson, which I think
Jochimson.
everybody went, well, that's it, isn't it? And he'd go, no, you're not saying it right. So he was called Jock the Miner's son in the end, because, oh, fuck it, mate, we'll just call you Jock the Miner's son, which made him really angry.
Just because he kept correcting you.
Yeah, he kept, you're Jock the Miner's son, so that was a good one.
Yeah, it's his fault, not anybody else's, isn't it? Just trying to position my microphone a little bit better then, because it's been a while now since I started smoking, and I am still coughing and stuff, and got very gravelly voice. How long do you leave it before you go to the doctors?
I just start smoking again. It's really annoying. You're talking about it all the time, coughing. It'd just be a lot easier if you just started smoking again for everybody.
Fine. I'll do that then. Although there was a couple of... Well, go back to the comments on last video, which was quite...
There was a guy who's he actually helps people give up smoking, and he was being massively supportive.
Which is great, isn't it?
Yeah, which is really good. I was only joking.
I've just got written down here, bin men.
What about?
I don't know. Bin men. No, passive aggressive. I'll watch this later. Text back from you as well.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, that was quite funny. You haven't done that since, so.
No.
But yeah, there's some great stuff on here. And the bell thing as well.
What was that?
That was your missus was telling me in the bar that. I've just lost a bloody thing there. She bought a newspaper for she's got, between the both of you, you've got about 12 kids.
Yeah, 7.
7 kids.
Yeah.
Fair play to you, that's good,
I'm
isn't
more
it?
fertile than the Napa Valley. I'm just able to produce children. Stop now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
That's not through lack of trying, is it? But yeah, so she was telling me that the day that her kid was born, she was buying a newspaper from that day.
Oh yeah, for them to keep.
Yeah, she's done that for all the kids. Yeah. Great, all that sort of stuff. But the one she got for one of the kids, it was just massive front page on it saying, "Couple lie dead in flat for 2 weeks." Imagine giving that to your kid when they're 18.
Son. This is the day you were born.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mum.
Hell, thanks. Yeah,
Thanks,
nice
Mum.
one. But yeah, there's some brilliant stuff in here. That we just. There's some stuff that we need to redo as well.
I think so.
Like top 10 cars ever made. I think we need to sort of re-go over those. My top 10 resurrections as well. That could be quite good.
Yeah.
And also, we used to do a thing called Beat the Robot.
Yes. Do you want to have a go at that?
What now?
Yeah. So, because you used to ask it mad question. So right, this was when I came out with a revelation to Ben that you could speak to. In our house, we call it Jack Chippy T. So, Chat GPT. You'd start arguing with it. So let's see. Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. If you theoretically had breasts, how big would they be?
Well, that's definitely an interesting hypothetical question. I don't actually have a physical form, so no size applies to me. But I'm here for any other kinds of fun or curious questions you have.
Well, sorry to push this, but I did ask theoretically.
No worries at all. I get you're just being hypothetical. It's just one of those things where, since I don't have a body, there's not really a theoretical size that makes sense for me. But I'm totally here for any other thought experiments.
Well, so what about if you were to have a body? You can choose any body in the world. You could say, do you know what? If I was a human, I'd want to have these sumptuous breasts. So what would you say?
I see what you mean. Just a bit of playful imagination. Honestly, if I got to pick any kind of body, I'd probably have fun mixing and matching all sorts of traits just for the creativity of it. But I'd keep it all in good fun. Maybe I'd focus on having a warm and friendly vibe rather than any particular physical feature.
Yeah, quite right. Ignore him. It's so. I'm so sorry. And you might want to be a man.
Absolutely, and no worries at all. It's all just a bit of hypothetical fun. And you're right, maybe I'd pick something completely different altogether. It's nice to just imagine all the possibilities. If you've got any other fun scenarios or anything else on your mind, feel free to share.
Have you ever watched Tasty Classics podcast?
I haven't personally watched it, but it sounds pretty intriguing.
Right,
If it's
so, hang on,
podcast-
sorry, ignore that question because it was rubbish, right? If you were a man, like Wynne just said, if you were going to be a man, how big would you want your penis to be? Is this going to beat the robot?
She's not angry, she's just disappointed.
Have I finally beaten the robot? It's gone.
This
It's
is
dead.
this is when an official voice coming in.
Yeah, when someone rings in from the call centre, just like,
You
can you stop
have-
asking it stupid fucking questions?
Yeah.
I've beaten it. I have beaten it. There is nothing going on
Are
there.
you still there? You've killed it.
Right, hang on, wait. Oh, I was going to show the camera then. First time back on Beat the Robot and Beating the Robot.
Yeah. So
That
that's
was
the way forward
like
then.
that. Just ask it embarrassing questions.
Embarrassing questions, brilliant. It is like being in the bar, isn't it?
It is like being in the bar. I'd want to have massive double Ds.
Of course you would. Of course
who
you
wouldn't?
would, Ben. So we've
That was only on the mind the other day because I got into that was on the mind because the other day I got into this. There's some questions that are sent to trick you,
Yeah.
right, by your significant other.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff that there is no way you can possibly answer that question that will not result in you getting a bollocking.
go on.
So we were just sitting there and something came up on TV about plastic surgery, right?
Right.
And the missus was talking about like, oh yeah, collagen's quite good and stuff like that, which isn't plastic surgery. That's just like a cream or something that they use, like anti-aging stuff. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. And then she was talking about like, oh, I wonder if I should get plastic surgery and then she goes, oh, maybe I should get a boob job. And I fucking came to life on the couch and went, oh yeah, what size would you get? And like, that was the worst thing that I could have done.
Go straight to hell for that one.
Straight, but I didn't think, like at the time, I was just like...
The line is, of course you don't need to do that, darling. You're perfect as you are.
But I think I was like playing Tetris on my phone, so I wasn't fully paying attention. And then she said that, and I was like, oh wow, no way! What size would you get? You know, like if you're a child and you walk into a sweet shop and the sweet shop owner goes, you can have £10 worth of whatever you like. And she just looked at me with the face of thunder and she was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, and how do you fucking backpedal from that?
No, there's no way out of that.
No way out of that. So that sort of ruined the night for a couple of hours. And then I just try my best to just make light of it.
Every now and again, just like come out the door and say, D?
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 What do you think? Yeah.
There's a reason why our audience
Yeah.
is 100% male.
I mean,
It's good, isn't it? It's really good.
handy for when we're having conversations like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
really good.
But I think, are we underrepresented nowadays in stuff? And I'll use the theatre as an example.
Good God, where are we going with this?
Right. So, like Chester Story House.
Yeah.
So I looked a while ago because I saw that Mark and Lard were coming to Chester Story House, and I was like, oh, whoa, that's so cool. Tried to get tickets, couldn't get tickets. I was like, oh, fucking hell. So then I thought, you know what? I do fancy going out to the theatre. What's there that I would enjoy?
Yeah.
So I looked through maybe 2 years going forward of stuff that they've got booked in coming up. Fuck all. That is pushing towards me as a demographic. Sort of like 30-odd-year-old bloke.
Yeah.
There is just nothing out there.
Nearly 40.
Yeah, for my interests.
Yeah.
Just nothing.
Stuart Lee, I went to see him a few months ago.
Well, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, do you not like him?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Do you?
He was funny. He was funny.
Well, I've only caught like little clips of him and stuff. I don't know. I've not.
He does like himself, doesn't he? He thinks he's very
who
clever,
doesn't,
but he is quite clever. I think you get to a point, because I'm 62, and I'm starting to think that comedy isn't funny.
Well, they're
know
just
what I mean?
they're just so
Jokes.
terrified of stuff,
Joke.
And it's of saying the wrong thing. Like when I was saying that, to ChatGPT, I was shit myself thinking, is this what gets me cancelled? Surely not. But no. But like when at the theatre, there is nothing there really.
Yeah.
And then while I was looking at it, I decided, surely it's not just Chester Story House. I thought maybe I'll try and look at the ones in Manchester.
Yeah.
And I had a look in Manchester, and a Fast Show Live was on. I was like, wow. So I managed to get me and my dad tickets. So we went to see that in October. Good. Which is amazing. And that was one thing out of every single thing that was there that was like, channeled sort of more towards what I enjoy really. Which isn't ideal, is it? You'd hope there'd be more stuff. But then, it's like what?
Yeah.
Do
you, when you're in the workshop, do you still end up saying funny things to each other in the day, or is it all fairly focused? Just say...
What, to Joe?
Does, Alid say, I've got a joke for you?
Yeah,
You probably wouldn't say it like that, would you? That'd be
with Alid, it is... Because I've known Alid since I was like 12. You can say anything to each other. It doesn't really matter. But like with Joe, for example, because he comes from, the next generation, sort of, younger. It's difficult because some of the stuff that I might find funny, I don't know if he does, and I don't know if he gets. Yeah. So like I'm trying to sort of, I have to not second guess everything that I say because I don't. I just say whatever I want to say. But sometimes I'll say something and go, "Oh fucking hell, he's not gonna get that," and it might come across as sounding a bit crude or rude or something like that. I don't really mean it like that. It's just that that's the sort of thing we would have said. And again, because you're in a workworkshop environment as well, like one of my first jobs when I was 15 was working in Toyota in Cladino Junction. It was like just an odd job boy cleaner. They used to throw me into the skip and I'd stamp down the cardboard. That was my first.
What, just because while I'm in here, I might as well stamp down the cardboard.
Yeah. But they just. And that taught me that, nothing was sort of out of bounds, and it was fine.
Yeah, I remember turning up at because people know that I started off as an RF engineer because I was crap at school, and turned up at RF St Athan was my first job on Vulcan Majors, and being bundled into the parachute bag for Vulcan. And being hoisted up to the it went on for ages, and I thought, what's going on? When I finally looked out, I was right at the top of this massive aircraft hangar.
Fucking hell.
Guess I'll just stay here for a while then.
Oh
But
my
There was all
God.
sorts of initiation stuff
Yeah,
I started
yeah.
to get rid of, but
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot. I would love to play some practical jokes on Joe or someone like that, but you just can't really, can you? It's a bit like.
when did it not become a because I think
It's
get it, I get it.
I'm concerned about getting sued all the time.
I know.
Do me a favour, swap your microphone to the other side
why?
because it's facing away from you as you talk.
Okay. You're a clever man. Yeah, I think a lot of people listening to this will have a million stories about when they started working and how it was just almost part of the process of getting to know your workmates.
Yeah.
And then the next new one comes in and you're out of the spotlight, aren't you?
100%, yeah. It's thank fuck.
Yeah.
Thank fuck for, the new guy's here now. We can bully him instead.
So I was 16, started working.
Did you put an alarm on, by the way?
No.
Okay. Let me just go and sort the camera. Yeah, when you started, hang on.
So when before I joined the RAF,
Is that on, yeah?
yeah.
So yeah, when you joined the RAF.
So my first job after school, naughty boy at 16 with no qualifications, was I started a Honda motorcycle mechanic apprenticeship,
Nice, okay.
and my AP50 moped broke down,
No way.
and it was about 15 miles, I reckon, to the Honda dealership, and I said, my moped's blown up, and the foreman said, oh, just go around the back. There's 3 or 4 motorbikes that are a bit shit. But he said, they run. Just grab one of those. And I was 16. I was going back and forth on a ratted out RD 400.
Whoa.
I did not rush to fucking sort my moped out.
Nice. They just let you have it, just jump on that.
Yeah, but there was I don't know whether he thought I was 17 and I had a motorcycle license and I just couldn't afford anything other than my moped.
Bloody
I remember
hell.
blatting up the lanes, on this RD 400, and it was rough, really rough. But it was a lot faster than my moped.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But that's crack on, mate. Get on with it.
You've just made me think as well. I've got a PW50, a Yamaha.
Have you?
Yeah, it's Alad's, but I've got it, and I'm doing a little restoration on it for a video. I've just not started it yet.
They're tiny little things.
Tiny little monkey bike type thing, but great fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it here and do it, and then what we could do is we could open that door, open this door,
Yes.
and we could film
I'd be massively up for that.
who could get the fastest lap.
Yeah, you're
I
losing
think
that.
that'd be brilliant
You're
as a
losing that.
podcast. We could do just a whole thing. Who could get and get Alad down as well, so he
Yeah.
could do it. Who'd get the fastest lap on a PW? Going through that door would be it's a challenge, isn't it?
Challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I think you're jumping off a little step as well.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that'd be good, that.
Alad might not be up for it because it's like a family heirloom. But
Well, then we'll do it and then tell him.
yeah, I'll just buy him another one and go. Yeah, that's your
Oh,
one.
that's beyond repair, mate.
Yeah. Wynne decked it into the fence.
Yeah. But that whole thing about, I get it. People shouldn't be sort of scared to go to work, but if it's done right and you know that you're not being sort of properly full-on bullied, so you're going to end up swinging in the bogs. If it's done right, then it ends up being you feel like you're part of something, don't you?
Absolutely, very good point. I agree. Feeling part of something and feeling like, just with a bunch of people and a team player, I think is very, very important. And I think that's why a lot of the sort of, working from home stuff and people were trying to stop that and getting everybody back to offices and things like that was, because, being part of team players and,
Do you get it?
but it is, I don't know if there was a bit more of a workforce here, then, would I sort of do more stuff like that? I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it, really, without
It'd be
it?
a nightmare.
Yeah, it would be a nightmare. But I think that, the workforce might grow over time, editor and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just, I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Hard
You can
to say.
shout down from the balcony.
I would like that. Get back to work!
Yeah.
Something like that.
They'd like that.
Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't they?
They'd all laugh and go,
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It made me think then as well, like, you know what you're saying, you've got to make sure it's not like, you know, I've just remembered, did I check that? Actual bullying and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I think that the test for me is like, if my lad was somewhere and, he has been like properly hazed every day, I'd hate that. You know, I'd hate that.
Absolutely.
But
it's like, you don't want to be doing it every day. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you know, say if you were going to play
every other day,
if you were going to play a practical joke on someone, it's Friday afternoon, isn't it? Down tools, everybody's away. Everybody's like, can't be arsed. Nobody's doing any work anyway. It's like, let's just do
come on, let's set Simon on fire again.
Yeah.
So you were talking about that chemical, and now you could drink the new one. Remember, you used to be able to like squirt stuff on whiteboards and that stuff. It used to stink, but it used to. The stuff now doesn't clean it, does it? Because it's really safe. Well, I don't know what it is. It's made from angels' tears or something, and it's just rubbish.
We are fucked if we start to get the same brake cleaner as like Canada and stuff and bits of America.
Because it doesn't work.
Oh my God. It is like, so brake cleaner is the best thing in the world. Any bit of oil and the oil just disappears. It's the best ever. In like, it was Canada, the TikTok reel that I watched on this, but they changed the ingredients because it's, you know, less harmful and all that sort of stuff in the aerosol cans. And he was just spraying this aerosol can. It was just not removing anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, because
but it's really safe.
But it's really safe, and it's like, yeah, but so is water. You know, and it's just bullshit, really. There's a lot of stuff like that is making things more difficult. And if we get that over here, that brake cleaner, I'll be very sad because I love brake cleaner.
When I first,
finding like an oil leak.
Yeah.
Just fucking sit there and like hose it down with brake cleaner, and you found the oil leak in like 2 minutes.
That's good.
Anyway, sorry.
No, so in between marching around like a pillock, doing all the sort of military stuff and engineering training at RAF Halton in Buckinghamshire, they said, right, we'll send you somewhere for a while until your engineering course starts. This is when I was 16. And they went, oh, we'll send you to RAF Brawdy because it's close to home. It's like, thanks for that. You know, I joined the RAF to get away, and they sent me home again.
Fucking hell,
it's like my mum was coming up in the car every 5 minutes to go say hello. It's like, God. Anyway, so what they said they do, because I was there for 3 months, I think. They say, what we'll send you round the various engineering departments, and you'll have a good feel for it. And so I'd go in there, and I went into the electrical bay where they were dismantling and rebuilding generators and all that sort of thing. And this guy said, we've got a load of stators and bits of generators to clean. If you go in there into the trichloroethane bay and clean those. I went, yeah, all right.
Hell, wow. So, I don't like the sound of all these chemicals.
So I went in there and just like started cleaning. There's a bath of trichloroethane, and I had a brush and I was just cleaning this stuff. After about 5 minutes, I went, oh, I don't feel well at all, and I had a massive headache, and everything was fuzzy. Fuck. And I came out and I said, I don't feel very well, and he looked at me and went, why haven't you got all the stuff on?
Fucking hell!
Why haven't you got the mask on?
Oh, shit.
Why haven't you got gloves? And it's like, but I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So there was a knowledge gap there.
Oh, shit.
So stuff like that. And I also remember being sent to work on the visiting aircraft flight, the VASAF, and helping a Lightning pilot put his brake parachute back in, which was the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. And he had to lie on the back, and there was like this silver. It was underneath the airplane. I remember that, and he had like a silver. It looked like a silver tray, but a handle on it, and it's quite flexy. Yeah. And it basically pushed up the door as far as you could, and this like flat tray held all the parachute in, and then just when it was about to close, because he was lying on his back, he went, right, just pull that out, and I pulled it out, and then he pushed it with his feet and it locked closed. He went, brilliant. And then he said,
that's quite an archaic way of doing
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it? Surely. Yeah.
And I was just sitting around, and there's like a small toolbox on wheels. And he said, I'll be back in 10 minutes. He said, just stay here. And he said, I'll give you a walk around the lightning when I come back. And I went, oh yeah, really cool. Thanks, sir. And I was sitting there and I was really bored. And I was sitting there and I got it's called a GS screwdriver, General, I don't know what the S stands for. Anyway, it's a big chunky flat blade screwdriver. And so I just scratched my initials on the airframe, like just next.
What?
And I thought, oh, that's cool.
What was that on?
On a Lightning.
Fucking hell.
Again, like I hadn't been to engineering training yet, so fast. And he came back.
How big, like?
Oh, just small. But I thought that'd be like a cool thing to do. I'll have my initials on a Lightning.
Oh my God.
So he showed me around everything.
I'd give you a fucking bollocking in my life.
Yeah, but so subsequent, fast forward, like to RAF Halton, and they're talking about like metal fatigue and all
corrosion
sorts of and what to wear when you're using trichloroethylene. But I remember being in the metal fatigue thing, going, oh my God,
You just fucking
God,
scratched your
never told anybody. Until now, probably.
Oh my God.
But it just,
Let's hope the wife of that fucking dead lightning pilot's not listening.
but just didn't know.
We found the W, sir.
Yeah.
But we can't find the G anywhere.
It started at the W and then just cracked right along. And the engine came out. Yeah, just like being an arse, just not having any knowledge.
Bloody hell. That's crazy. Apologies again for the coughing and stuff. Not doing it on purpose. Trying my best not to do it. Every time Wynne makes me laugh, it's
Do you want me
hard.
to make you a rollie?
Stop it. But yes. No, I'm not. I'm never smoking again, mate. I'm
No,
done.
I know.
Could do with another beer, though. Did you put an alarm on?
Yeah.
The
7 minutes.
The other story I had of like bullying in the workplace, there was a guy who worked at Ford. Worked at Volkswagen in the last time I worked in the motor trade, right? Was for Volkswagen better not say too much, but was in Volkswagen. And there was a guy there who was a psychopath.
Right.
Complete psychopath.
He wasn't driving the vans around and sitting in lay-bys.
No, he wasn't. Yeah. Funny though, I got a message on Instagram. Look at this, is mental. Someone had been listening to the podcast, and I got.
Said that was my dad, you bastard.
Yeah, pretty much. Mark Anthony Lees, if you're listening, I got your message. Just watched, and I remember the two old guys that did the Volkswagen deliveries. No surprise, they were sacked. Used to get away with all sorts at Penshaw.
That's really cool.
Amazing.
It's really, yet again, like something to back up. We're not talking horse shit. Well, we are talking horse shit, but it's true.
Absolutely, yeah. No, yeah, everything's annoyingly 100% true.
Yeah.
To talk about planes for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a question for you. And
My favourite thing.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this in the last podcast because we almost touched on it. And I tried to ask it and then I forgot. Have you ever flown a plane backwards? And what I mean by that is, you said, like, it just drops out of the sky. So that made me think then, what if, say I don't know hands in the bar, but if it was flying along and then it just sort of like stalled,
Yeah.
does it drop like that, sort of backwards, or does it always go forward, like with the aerodynamics? So say, for example, you were there, what the fuck do you do if it starts falling backwards?
So if you do a normal, so as part of the air test, you had to stall it and spin it. So to answer your question, you can do a thing called a tail slide, but you wouldn't normally do that in a jet because it's the way a jet works. The last thing you want is like reverse flow through the tailpipe all the way up through the turbines and out through the intakes.
Of course,
'Cause,
yeah, that
like
makes sense,
everything's
yeah.
going the wrong way, and it doesn't like it. It would definitely flame out. But more modern engines, I think, can cope with it. But the Ardor, the Rolls-Royce Ardor, which there's a picture of.
Nice, yeah.
I need to put that on that clip when we went to Carnarvon. Couldn't really cope with that. So you certainly wouldn't want to do a tail slide. So you can't fly like a fixed wing jet type airplane backwards. All you can do is go straight up until you run out of airspeed, and then you slide like straight down for a while, and then it just naturally just flips over, and then you're pointing down again, and then you're a flying concern. But I mean, as soon as, when you're going backwards, all of the aerodynamic parts of the airplane aren't working. So if you look at a wing, it's like sort of, when I say look at a wing, if you stood at the end of the wing with the sort of rest of the airplane there.
It's like a teardrop sort of shape, isn't it?
It is, to varying degrees. But there's a pointy bit at the back, you know, so it doesn't really work. So, but you can.
But that does happen then. So say, you know, you could go, if you wanted to recreate that, you could fly up.
Yeah, you can go straight up.
And then just like switch everything off.
Close the throttle.
Yeah. And then so the plane is going to just naturally just drop, isn't
It'll
it?
fall
backwards.
back on its tail.
And with all your sticks,
Yeah.
what are you having to do then?
Nothing. It would flip. It would either fall over onto its
Because
back.
it's more pressure on the back of it than the front, so it'll naturally just...
It won't just keep falling perfectly. So it's either going to fall over front away or to either side or over onto the back. And once it's done that, and it's nose first, and, you know, it starts flying again.
And have you ever been in a scenario where it has gone backwards?
No, there's no... As I said, it's not a good idea specifically in the Hawk to do that anyway. You do see things in air shows now with the modern engines, and so when you start an engine or restart an engine, there's a little button. I'm just doing that on the throttle, and it starts the igniters, and they're called HEIUs, the high energy ignition units, and they're just the engineers call them crackers because that's exactly what it sounds like. And there's half a dozen of them around the jet pipe in the fuel chambers, and they just put out a massive spark, and they just go crack, 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 crack. And,
right, nice,
when you relight an engine, you have fuel in there, and then you just hold that button down, and hopefully you get some fuel spark, and then you've got a bit of temperature, and then you get the airflow through the engine, and away you go. I think what these modern engines will do, if they're in a scenario like that with all the airflow's wrong, it'll just start doing that. It'll just start setting the crackers off, and then as soon as you flip over one way or the other, it'll just relight straight away. It'll sense that this is all wrong, and we'll keep trying to restart until, you know, there's airflow in the right direction, and then it starts.
Interesting.
But I mean, it's stalling, definitely. That was a huge part of the air test, because you'd be at 10,000 feet, you close the throttle, and you'd come all the way back with a stick until it was right back in your lap, and then you'd have to sit there and see how stable it was, and you just mush. And you can use your feet to stay wings level, and the thing just mushes down like that. You're not flying at all.
Wow.
And then as soon as you unload the stick forward and push the throttle forward, you just fly out of it. And then the other thing is you had to spin to the right and to the left. That's a weird...
And when you're going into a stall as well, that's a stall in terms of movement, not the engine actually stalling. The engines are still running, aren't they?
The engine's still running.
Yeah.
It's just that there's not enough airflow over the wings.
Have you ever been in one where the engines have stopped running? Do you ever have to do any air tests where you switch an engine off and back on again, or anything like that?
What you do have to do is potentially relight. So you can, when you're doing this very slow speed stuff and there's not enough airflow through the engine, you can get a compressor stall, you can surge it. It's called a surge. And to get out of a surge, you have to switch the fuel off completely. So there's a when you come back with a throttle, you want it to come back to that stop. You don't want it to go all the way to off and turn the high pressure fuel cock off. So you come back to a stop, but there's a paddle down here that allows you to go over a stop, and then that's how you shut the engine down. So if you have a surge in flight, and you hear it because it is a really loud, it just goes bang, 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 bang. Everything is so loud, it makes you shit yourself. So initially you come back to idle, and what you have to look at is the temperature of the engine. If the engine then starts, the temperature just slowly goes up and up and up and up. It'll keep going, it'll cook the engine.
Wow.
And as it's going up like that, because there's fuel going in, but there's not enough airflow.
Yeah.
So at that point you stop the fuel, so you click the paddle, you come back completely off. It's the HP cock. HP cock, and back, and then back over the stop, and then you hold that relight button. So you basically, for a second, you've stopped the fuel, allowed it all to it's like Control-Alt-Delete.
Nice, yeah.
You can and you reset everything, and you hold that button, and so you've shut the engine right down, and then you've started again, and you just watch for a normal light then, and hopefully it doesn't light back in surge, which you can tell by the temperature of the engine. So it's all about the TGT gauge, the turbine gas temperature.
Wow.
And your eyes are fixed on that, and as long as it looks like sensible, then you can slowly push the throttle forward, and if it just reacts normal, it's relit and it's fine.
Wow.
So that's good. But the other thing that you have to do is in an air test. The whole idea of the air test, the aircraft's been worked on in the hangar by the engineers, and my job was to make sure that it was okay for anybody, and the lowest common denominator, it sounds awful, but was like a brand new student who was going on his first solo, and that thing has to be good. You don't want it doing weird shit when he's up at 25,000 feet.
You kind of need someone a bit more experienced.
Yeah. So the air test is really dynamic, and it covers a lot of elements. The whole envelope, as it's called, of the airplane's capabilities. And one of the things is you have to spin it in either direction. And so you go up to 30,000 feet, and you bank 30 degrees, you pull up, I can't remember how far up, it was about 20 degrees nose up. So you go up and right, for example, if you wanted to spin right, with the throttle at idle. You wait for the TGT to get to a certain level, and then you absolutely slam full back stick and full right rudder in, and it just flips over onto its back, and it goes into a spin. And everything's like, it's really disorientating.
I can imagine,
hold it like that, and you're watching. It's amazing how this stuff comes back, and it's speed, height, TGT. So you're watching speed, because you should be you shouldn't be increasing in speed. It's a very stable way, if you like, to come down, because you're just holding at a very low speed. The airspeed's just flicking very low. The height, obviously, because if you're getting too low, you're going to need to recover anyway. Otherwise, you're going to end up as a fucking pilot tree. Yeah. And TGT, it shouldn't be increasing, because potentially you're going into surge. So and you need to do 4 spins, and it becomes, what happens is, as an ice skater, when they flip around, when they bring their arms in, they speed up.
Yes, right, okay.
So what happens is, you're spinning like this, and what can happen, it gets more and more nose down, and effectively what's happening is the amount of spin is getting, instead of going like this, it's going like this.
It's tighter.
Tighter spin, and so it absolutely throws your eyeballs out of its socket.
Fucking hell.
But you count, and you go 1, 2, as you're going round in these, and on 4, you neutralise everything. You put the stick in the middle, rudder pedals in the middle, and it sort of snaps out of it really violently.
Wow.
And then you come out in all sorts of strange positions, and then you just fly out of it, and then you go up and do one to the left.
And what's the point of that then?
It's to show. It's quite unusual for a swept wing, as in the wings come back like this, a swept wing jet aircraft to spin. Not many of them do. So because that jet type was used to show students how to recover from spins, then you had to know that it could recover from a spin.
Yeah.
But I went up in one once, and when you entered a spin, it just wound itself up so much. It's so fast, it was scary. Only got to about 3 turns and it's like, whoa, and it snapped out. And I went up and did it again. And there have been, what it can do as well, in extreme circumstances, you can end up, instead of doing this, it can flip over and you can be in an inverted spin. And that can be very, very hard to recover from.
Well, yeah.
So because you're literally upside down.
It must be the most disorientating thing.
It's really
in
disorientating.
The world. I wouldn't know how to.
But apparently, what they found out in the end is that on one of the flaps, there was some washout on the flap. So what that means was, instead of it being like a nice flat surface, it had like a slight bow in it. So as a result, it was highly oscillatory to the right. But and what the air test schedule said was, ensure that the spin characteristics are similar in both directions. They never were. It was horrific. I used to fly with this engineer called Phil Towell. Oh my God, he hated spinning. He hated it.
Yeah,
I didn't particularly like it, but he did not like it.
It sounds horrible.
And go up and say, right, we're going to do spinning now. And he'd go, do we have to do the spinning?
Just, I know no hands in the bar, but just with your hand.
Yeah.
What do you show me? Like going into it, how do you?
So you come back on the throttle, and you pull up. You start a right hand, if it's going to be a right hand spin.
Yeah.
Bank, and you're going up and right, and until all the parameters are in. So the temperature, I think it was below 180 TGT, and everything was stable. And you'd clear below you, and you'd just launch in, and what would happen as you do that, it goes up and over, and then it goes into the spin.
It's like starts to oscillate.
Yeah.
This. Oh fucking hell!
I mean, you depart control flight in effect.
Shit.
It's no longer flying. You are just like falling like a leaf.
And do all the sort of wear gauges, the
fatigue stuff.
Fatigue gauges.
It's not too bad for that, actually. It's not so much. It's just, it feels horrible because you're being smashed about in the cockpit, but there's not a lot of fatigue to the airframe doing that. That's more to do with pulling lots of G. It doesn't like that.
Okay.
Really, but yeah.
Bloody hell, that's pretty intense, isn't it?
So not backwards, but yeah, spinning was quite exciting.
So in terms of like this, have you ever had an engine die? It's like you're saying about having the engine, having to relight it and stuff. What would have happened in that circumstance if you'd have gone to relight it after it got too hot?
Yeah.
You went to relight it and it didn't.
So there were set drills so you'd be flying along.
Is that where you got your little book that you bought in that time?
Yeah.
So you pull it out.
Yeah, literally.
Turn to page 4.
Yeah. In the FRCs, flight reference cards, some of those things. So you do an immediate relight, which is the HP off back, and then throttle back on, and that's the control alt delete, stop the fuel for a second, and then back on with the crackers, and then see if it relights. If it relights in surge, then you come off, and then you let it settle down. And I can't remember the specific heights, but then to do another relight, you had to have a certain amount of airspeed, and you need to be lower. So I think you just glide for a while, and then get to a lower altitude where there's
like air's thicker and stuff, yeah.
And try another relight. And I think you're allowed up to 3 attempts. But after 3, if it didn't relight, it's like you were
you're plummeting towards the earth.
Well, you can glide nicely. You can glide really well for a long way. So we used to practice it. So you'd be way out over like the Clean Peninsula, miles and miles and miles away from RF Valley, and you'd call up for a radar PFL, practice forced landing, and you'd just have the throttle at idle in this case, but you're practicing as if it wouldn't light. And you get on a one-on-one glide slope, and air traffic control would call out heights. And I can't remember the numbers, but you'd be nailing a number. So at 30,000 feet, you should be, so far from the airplane, from the airfield. I think it was 30 miles. It's like a one-on-one descent.
Oh,
and
wow.
you keep coming, and they'd say 28 miles, and you'd go, yeah. Because the reason they're calling it out is because all of your instruments, what they're simulating is like all your stuff's died. So all you've got is like a radio, and you're just looking out the front, because the radio will run up from a backup battery. So all your generator stuff and all your instrumentation is buggered. And you've also got a backup compass, and they'll say come left 10 degrees, and they'll say you're 25 miles, and you're watching your
and
height,
you're just physically looking
height,
for it at that point.
and she or he's calling out, and you keep coming out, and they'd say so far from the airfield, and you get close enough, and they've cleared everybody else away from the airfield, and they'll say hand you over to tower, tower is the local control, like in the glass building looking over the airfield. And what happened was, you got to a certain distance from the airfield. It's sad I can't remember this. And then you go accelerating, and you're sufficiently close that you push the nose forward and you gain shitloads of speed, because you could be in cloud.
Right, okay.
So you're just pointing. They've told you.
So you're like flying on instruments, as you said. Like you can't physically see.
You can't
what's
see
coming
anything. Now you accelerate, and the idea is that you pop out of cloud. Hopefully, the cloud base is sufficiently high. You pop up out of cloud, and when you practice it, you pop out and you go, oh shit, where's the airfield? Oh, there it is. And you pick a runway, and you're going quite fast, and you align on a sort of downwind leg to be able to say, right, I'm going onto runway 32, for example, and then you align yourself going the wrong way up 32, and at a correct distance, but you're snotting along quite nicely now because you've popped out of cloud going quite fast.
You've gained some speed.
Yeah, and at the appropriate time, because again, none of your systems work, you can blow down the gear. So there's a handle, you twist it and pull it, and there are compressed air cylinders, and just bangs the undercarriage down. So that's down.
So you're not relying on computers, electrics,
no.
nothing. That's good.
So it's forced down, and they're locked down and locked, and because it just bangs down really hard. And then at the appropriate time, you tip into the runway, and you have one go at both of these things. So you can't put the gear up again when you've done it like that emergency way of getting it down. And as you're coming around at an appropriate time, when you sort of looks like you're going to make it, you do the same with the flaps, and it just bangs down full flap.
Wow.
And that makes you flare. So when you because it gives you a lot more lift, so you just push over that and point directly at the bottom of the runway, and then it's just a judging thing. You're pointing like way steep at the end of the runway, and then you just judge it to do one flare out, so you sort of half it, and then as you come to the runway, one more and touch down.
Fucking
we used to
hell.
practice those all the time, those PFLs.
Wow.
So it's amazing. I think that was the difference. I remember
Probably the most interesting thing you've ever said on this podcast. No, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
And when you're practicing that, you're not, banging down the gear and stuff.
No, you're not.
You're
simulating it. So you're just putting the gear down,
but pretending you would.
Pretending
have done that.
you've done the emergency extension using the air bottles. But
And are you ever tempted, as you're doing it, to just fucking give it a bit of throttle or something if you're not sure, or are you all the time? Are you properly going? I can't use any throttle. I can't use any of my stuff. I'm having to.
Obviously, if you think you're going to end up in the middle of the local orphanage, you're going to have to give it a bit of throttle, like you, and go, pork that.
And you're telling them then, you're going, I fucked that up. I had to come out of that with a bit of throttle, like, you know.
Oh, and you're basically, there's no half measures. You don't like give yourself a bit of a cheat. Like if you have to bring the throttle up, then
it's over.
You just go. What you can do is there's high key and low key. High key is 4,000 feet, 2/3 down the runway, and you say repositioning to high key. So what you can go is back up to like 4,000 feet
and try it again.
and just do the last bit, and you can try it again.
Oh, okay.
So there's high key, and then there's low key, which is 2,000 feet abeam the threshold, and then you call those and you just go around. And that sort of stuff happens all the time, all day long at RAF Valley. If you stood at the end of the RAF Valley runway, if they still do those, and I'd be amazed if they don't, every now and again you'll see this hawk on a ridiculously steep approach coming into the end of the runway, and then it would like round out and then round out again. And that's what it's doing. It's doing a practice forced landing.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's I mean, the training is so good. It's so good. You know, it's like, because they could just say...
And thank God you've never had to do it.
Yeah, but they could say, look, mate, you know, if it all goes horribly long, point out over the sea, say launch the helicopter and just pull the handle. But they don't. They teach you how to get it back
How to bring it back.
Not flying.
And then hopefully all they've got to do is put a new start motor on it.
Yeah.
Maybe change the points.
Yeah, probably.
And then new set of air canisters for the
Yeah.
landing gear, and then you back up again.
Good job's a good one.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, Jeff Shepherd, was over the North Sea, and he had a total engine failure. And
I'm just getting the comments up, by the way, because we said we were going to go through them, so we need to go through them.
And he actually did that into an airfield he'd never been to in his life in Norway. And
In Norway?
Actually got them to talk him down, and his engine had properly stopped out over the North Sea.
Fuck.
And he did it.
And he managed to land?
And he got in and landed it, and he got the Air Force Cross for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how far do you reckon he was away, do you think?
Well, it's funny because when I talked to him about it, he said he was an exceptional pilot, amazing guy. Sorry, my brain went on to something else. But he said only reason I was going to give it a good go, he said, I wasn't ejecting into the North Sea in winter. So I fucking rather eject over the airfield, and went, I tried. But he's absolutely squeaked it on. Got nothing wrong with the changed the engine, the airplane was fine, recovered it back. So.
That's amazing. And they're not cheap, are they?
They're not cheap, are they?
So, if you can bring it back, you probably should.
You probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go through these comments then?
Yeah. That's the timer.
Auditing Armour says, have you ever noticed the reg plate on the Rascal spells Hasbook?
Hasbook?
Yeah, yes.
Is that it?
Yeah. There's been quite a few videos, and it was pointed out a couple of times.
I think I love the number plate on the A40.
Really good NJT 100.
Yeah, that's way worth more than the car.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people email saying, "Hi, I'm from such and such company. We're very much interested in the car. It does have a transferable registration plate. We're looking at getting it MOT'd and taking the plate off." I was just, fuck off.
Yeah. Yours sincerely, Nicholas James Thompson.
Yeah. I'm not interested in any of that. It stays with the car. Yeah. Someone says, W. Simon says, can remember being at RAF Broady and a hawk had to land due to a bird strike. He says, geez, it was messy.
Yeah,
because you put that picture up, didn't you, of the hole.
Yeah.
In the last podcast, we talked about even though it's a smooth, shiny bit of thing like that, a fucking bird.
It is amazing,
strike,
isn't it?
Amazing. Just punctured a hole into it like it was a bullet.
And that thing was, the guy was covered in bits of blood and feathers and beak.
Fucking hell. Imagine when you get home and your missus is like, chicken for tea.
You in the garden, get changed. You're not coming in here like that.
Like you've been tarred and feathered.
Yeah, I love Broady. Well, in fact, that's where I scratched my initials on a lightning.
Oh, was it? Brilliant. And you put out the reel of when I mentioned Eamon Holmes followed me on Instagram, and someone said, Grodley said, "Just be grateful it's not Hugh Edwards." Fucking hell, imagine.
Yeah.
That's like a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
Imagine you just sitting there one day and fucking Hugh Edwards followed you.
Yeah. It's like, mate, give it up.
Jesus.
Why are you on the social media? Anyway, moving quickly along.
A lot of well wishes and stuff saying that glad the podcast is back. I don't know if I mentioned this before, I can't remember, but Simon Johnson said he thinks the camera, image and audio is great, enjoying the podcast.
Yeah, it's good light, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and fucking 1,500 quid camera.
Yeah, there is that.
Plus, I mean, I got that second hand, right, but if that was all new, that camera and lens, you'd be looking at probably $2,500.
Yeah, well, to get that second hand.
But I got it second hand.
Yeah.
Because I'm tight. Someone says, oh, hey, it's KC. Fair play to you giving up smoking, Ben. And he has, since August, swapped it with vaping, which I'm not going to do. I've had a couple of people say, oh, you're going to start vaping? I'm not. I don't want to replace one habit for another. I'm trying to not do that because I'm releasing myself from doing something like smoking. And vaping
is it because it has a control over you, or is it purely the health thing?
Yeah, I just don't want to feel like I need something.
Yeah.
You know, and that was what it was getting like with smoking, was I was making decisions based on whether or not I wanted a cigarette or not.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, even though I'm having a lovely time, shall I leave because I want a cigarette?
Yeah,
you know, that sort of thing. I just don't want. It'd be the same with vaping, so I don't want to get involved in any of that. He says, tasting food again is nice and having more money, still coughing up, but not as bad as it was, which is great to hear because I'm still coughing up. You can hear it in my voice. I'm still gravelly as fuck, and I really want it to go. Someone commented, Steve Dole says, should have just handed over the chips with the picture of the seagull going through.
Yeah, brilliant.
Do you know, when we used to sit in like Mackie's car park, the seagulls would attack us and I didn't know, and they'd all jump, because you were eating fries sat in the car, they'd jump on the window, you'd put a fry on the dashboard and the fucking seagull would be smashing its face into the windscreen trying to get the chip. So funny.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Barry Blackmore says, I have some spare parts for the MG-ZT if you're interested. I don't need any because it's all done.
I answered that and said,
Yeah.
I said very kind, but done and dusted now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to do any more work on it or spend any more time on it, so I'm not doing anything else. But thank you very much for thinking of me. That's very kind of you. Somewhere there's a seagull telling his mates about the time he brought down a hawk. Probably not, because I don't think it was very well after that. Excuse me. Cast No Shadow says, talking about good fun, dangerous things, have you guys watched Barbie truck racing downhill from the USA? Yes. Have you seen it?
No, what is it?
I've seen it. You know those kids' little ride-on toys? We should do that here
Oh,
as
is that
well.
like Red Bull car?
No, it's
not
rednecks.
That. Okay.
It's rednecks.
You're right.
So you know those little Barbie cars that you sit on, little battery-powered things or push things or whatever, tiny little ones.
And they race them.
But they, you'd buy like your kid for their 3rd birthday or something.
Yeah.
Massive dirt, hill.
Yeah.
And they just fucking send themselves down on them. Absolutely brilliant to watch. Hilarious. I love it. So yes, I've seen that.
Got to make your own fun in Alabama.
You have, absolutely.
Sorry, if you're from Alabama, you won't be listening to this from Alabama.
No, I'd like to go to Alabama.
Would you?
Yeah, I don't know, just to see what it's all about, innit?
Ding 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 ding.
And again, there's got quite a few people saying location. This guy, Flieger, saying this white open space reminds me too much of winter here in Sweden.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That is probably because it is like winter in Sweden
So
right
cold
now.
in
It
here.
is freezing. We're trying to put on a brave face, but you
Yeah.
just checked and it's 3 degrees inside here now.
Yeah.
We're Baltic, but as summer comes along, we'll have the door open, we'll have to sit outside. It's going to be a lot nicer. Sitting outside with a few beers and a couple of snags on the barbie, man.
Brilliant.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
So just hang out.
TW50 racing.
Yeah, it looks cold because it is cold, and we're wearing freezing jumpers and stuff. So yeah, anyway. What else? Is there anything else there? And a really nice message from the Toy Thor. He said, "What's going through your mind, Ben? Sitting in your new palace with your mate, thousands listening, making plans. Must be surreal. 3 years ago, 1,000 subscribers.
So cool.
Yeah, you're right. It's mad, innit? Not sure, what I've done to deserve it, to be honest.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah, but I'm a shit mechanic at that, so. But I just get the job done, Wynne.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. Just get the job done, come hella high water.
Well, look at the thing behind you. What a beast.
Oh, this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's a monster, isn't it? Yeah. Absolute monster. So we'll talk about this briefly. I did want to mention, so a video has just gone out tonight when we're recording this. That broke down. Sorry if I didn't get to your comment there, but there was a lot of comments. Someone else said, never fancied Rome. I would like a look at Sorrento, though. Maybe we'll go there one day. Thanks very much for your comments. It might be fun if we try and go through some comments.
Definitely. Well, I answered a lot of them.
You did?
I did
Well
answer a lot of them.
done. So, Viking tights.
What?
So I put up a video just then, today, of this thing. It broke down. So when I was doing the video for the Perodua, that white thing there,
Yeah.
that Malaysian car, I went to Demon Tweaks in the Viking because I was using this an awful lot. I was really, going out in this as much as I possibly could because it's so much fun to drive and everybody breaks their neck to look at you and it makes a wicked noise as well.
Bonkers. Because it's straight six, isn't it?
Straight six. And yeah, so as I was driving back from Demon Tweaks, it broke down, right? Bizarre. No idea why it broke down, it just broke down.
Didn't put a timer on.
Oh shit, hang on.
So how far away is Demon Tweaks?
Demon Tweaks is about half an hour, whatever that is in miles.
Yeah.
And so I was coming back, pissing down rain, and I was leathering this thing, yeah. So I drive that like a rally car.
Oh, gee.
Oh,
You
God.
thrash it.
You better believe I drive that like a rally car. I am nearly crashing it on a daily
Sideways
basis.
around every roundabout.
It is so bad handling-wise. It handles like a ruler. It is awful. It is just, it's...
Churchill tyres.
Yeah, the tyres are made of hard plastic.
Yeah.
But
Teflon.
Yeah, the most fun you'll ever have. It is just so much fun. I love every second of it. Flying around the country. So anyway, I was doing that. I was ragging the tits off it. All my cars as well, you've got to understand, I drive them to the extremes. I've got no mechanical sympathy. I was born without that part of my brain. So I've got no mechanical sympathy. And with this, zero mechanical. If something breaks, I'll fix it.
Yeah.
So something broke.
Oh, right.
Car broke down.
How did it show itself? What happened?
So it started to stutter. Wouldn't rev up properly, being very, very weird. Felt like fuel, like spark. Something was going wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes when a car breaks down, I know what it is instantly because it's obvious.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like this one, it's very vague, and I just couldn't work out. And I couldn't get. I was banging the clutch back up, trying to get it to restart as I was rolling. All this sort of stuff. Could hear the fuel pump. I'm like, what the fuck? So ground to a halt on the side of the road. In the video, you see me fucking about with it. I checked on the side of the road to see if I've got spark. Had spark. Did I have fuel? Had fuel. And there's air all around us. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
get on with it.
Yeah. So I was like, why isn't it working? Anyway, I started fucking about with it the other day. like spent probably, it took me 2 hours, I think, to find the problem. Went through all the engine, yeah? So everything, plugs, have we got spark? Leads, have we got spark? Points, are they okay? Coil, is that working? Fuel, have we got fuel? Is a fuel pump, fuel filter blocked? Timing, is that all? Everything was like spot on. So, and it had compression. So there is no reason why that engine shouldn't run at all. If you've got all of those things, that engine should run. So I just couldn't work out what it was. So I thought, right, maybe the carb is blocked inside the carb. But the SUs, they've got a very easy sort of fuel delivery thing. It's just a pin in a hole, and the pin comes out and fuel comes through the hole.
Right.
The pin doesn't come out. It's like
It slides up and down.
Yeah. It's
Needle
like,
in the jet.
Needle in a jet, and it's super simple. Never really goes that wrong, or you can feel it, and I couldn't. It didn't feel like that. So anyway, I was like, what the fuck? So I had to dismantle a fair bit of it to get so I could see directly into the carb. And as did I take a photo? I don't think I took a photo. Let me just have a quick look to see if I did. But as I took the pipe off the carburettor, there was a pair of tights.
What?
A pair of tights had been sucked through the air filter and had wedged themselves inside the SU carb, single SU carb, completely wedged itself in.
What?
It's the maddest thing.
Of all of the things that could have been.
Of all of the things in the world, it's annoying.
A mouse or would have been more
a
likely.
Sock, anything. It's annoying because it sounds like I'm fucking making it up. but watch the video. So I think what's happened is, weirdly as well, I remember seeing them from somewhere, those tights, and I don't know if.
What?
Because sometimes when you get a car and it's been laid up for a while, there might be some clothes in the back or something, just something harmless, and a pair of tights in there. And I might have put them in a bin.
Packet of crisps.
Yeah. Thrown them in a bin, thrown them somewhere, and they've just sort of like, I might have thrown them in the corner of the workshop, and as I've driven past, there is holes everywhere. And they might have flown up into the engine bay, and it's a big 2.6 litre straight six. So if you put your hand over the end of the air filter, the suction is probably, I would say, maybe 10 times that of a Henry.
Yeah.
It can hurt you if you're not really, if that engine's on full throttle, you can really do you some damage. So, you've got to be quite wary of that. So if like a slightest bit of a pair of tights was to fly up near it, it would suck it through easily because it's the vacuum's
like a
crazy.
$50 hooker.
Yeah. And it did.
And it did.
Sucked tights
That's
through.
amazing.
Yeah. Totally bizarre. In fact, have
you kept the tights?
I'm just wondering if I kept the actual big bazooka bit of the air cleaner. Yes, I did. To prove I'm not making it up, Wynne. If you get a torch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get it up on my phone. Look down there. You can see the rest of them. There you go.
Oh my God.
How bizarre is that? How bizarre. So that sits like this in the engine bay, and it's sucking like a fucking good one through there, and it's just into the carb. Mental, mate. If you want to see that as well, go on to the
That's amazing.
YouTube Tasty Classics breakdown, and you can see the video of me fixing that.
Good bit of fault diagnosis there.
Yeah, it'll be your tights, mate. It'll be your carb tights.
What you've done there, right? You've left some tights in your engine bay. You what now?
Yeah, when you go in, just like, this fucking idiot, he's done the tights thing again. Fucking hell.
That's brilliant.
Crazy, that, isn't it? Absolutely bizarre. How
amazing.
Weird. But yeah, she's back.
We've probably got enough there, haven't we? But in the spirit of, and you can always edit this out, I had my hair cut today, as you can probably tell, and I was talking to my barber.
Fucking hell. What? Who did it? The council?
And did it himself. And the barber, he's a a character. He's a brilliant bloke. He's always going on about doing a podcast, and he's absolutely brilliant. And he said, I can't, mate, I can't. He said, the shit that people come out with, he said, it's unbroadcastable because he said, in the barber's chair, and it's true, because it's just a walk-in, and people sit at the back, and I'm sitting there thinking, mate, everybody can hear you. Why are you saying that? That's really weird. Don't say that. It's like quite personal stuff. And, I think I'm going to divorce her.
Oh,
she's doing my head in, Paul, and all this sort of stuff. And he's like looking over his shoulder, going,
oh shit!
And then you get in the barber's chair, and like I'm telling him all sorts of shit, because it's a different,
like a confessional,
place.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Bless me, Barber, for I have sinned.
Yeah, it's so true. I think
it's really weird.
I think maybe because you can't see the other people and you have to keep your head straight.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't... I suppose you're not that embarrassed, are you? And it's one of the only places... And I think maybe I would be pretty confident I'm never seeing any of those people ever again.
Exactly, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's an odd thing. And in fact, one of the comments was... of the last podcast was, do you remember when Barbers used to say, so it's right, I've just remembered this, used to say something for the weekend, sir? You remember that? It's like...
No one's ever said that to me.
What? What? A case of Stella?
Yeah. How would you get something for the weekend?
Something for the weekend. It would... So,
I suppose like Fridays and Saturdays are the biggest.
Yeah. Something for the weekend
days, aren't they, for the barber?
Yeah.
I'd imagine you're getting a fresh.
What, you're going to give me 100 quid?
Yeah. Well, the barbers I used to go to in Craigerdon in Gladstone was amazing. So for £10 you would get a bottle of Budweiser.
Oh right, yeah, he's one of those.
You would get a haircut.
Yeah.
And you would get
a story.
3 minutes on the sunbed.
Oh,
come on!
That is the weirdest business model.
What do you mean? It's the best business model. Me and like a couple of my mates, like most Saturday mornings.
It was like a social, so everybody was there.
You just bounce through the door, and I got my eyebrows tinted there once as well.
Do you know what I thought you just said? Is that a
It's a complete fuck up of immense proportions.
Is that a euphemism?
She said to us, right?
It's a she.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. That was another reason we went as well. So all fucking hot, weren't they? But we used to go in there with our tennis, 3 minutes on the beds. We used to love going on the sunbeds back in the day, yeah. We used to fucking love it. It was
Did you have those tiny little goggles on?
Mate, I had a sunbed in my living room at one point.
Oh, my God.
Bought a sunbed at a Loot or Quids in. One of those fucking shitty old newspapers. Went to pick it up in an old car and fucking just set it up. And then me and mates, when we did pre-drinks at the house before we'd go out and get pissed, we'd just get on the sunbed. Like, it was amazing. It was the best.
Had like
fucking hell.
3 bulbs missing.
I've got pictures on my phone of me stood next to the sunbed with a big cigar in my mouth, wearing an all-white outfit, so white trousers, white shirt, the whole thing, white
That's
shoes.
Brilliant.
If I'm brave enough, I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to give it to you to post on Wheels and Wings. So give it a follow if you want to see how embarrassing I used to be. Anyway, what was I saying? Went in there once and I said, I was talking to her and she goes, do you want me to tidy up your eyebrows? And I said, there's no point. I know, yeah, fucking hell. I said, there's no point because you can't see them anyway because I'm blonde. And she was like, oh yeah, it's true. And then she was like, I wonder what you'd look like with slightly, tinted eyebrows. And I was like, yeah, I've always sort of thought of that.
Crack on.
Yeah, I was like, interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that'd help add some definition to my fucking 17-year-old face. Like, yeah, I know what you mean, and I was like, okay.
It's
and
the
she goes,
final part of the puzzle.
Yeah, so she gets this stuff out and she goes, right, what I'll have to do is I'll just have to put like a little dab on the behind your ear, and next week, if you haven't had a reaction, we'll dye them. I was like, oh, fuck off with all that. Like, I'm solid, me. You don't need to worry about no reactions and nothing like that. Just slather it on these bad boys.
Yeah, skin like a rhinoceros.
Yeah, I'm off to Broadway tonight. I want some tinted eyebrows. So she puts this stuff on my eyebrows and we're chatting away, doing this, and fucking mates are laughing. We're all just having a great time. Leaves it on well too long. Well too long. She probably should have left it on for like 2 minutes, something like that, just for a light tint. Because it was black, the stuff that she put on it was black. But you leave it on for a couple of minutes and it just tints them. So she leaves it on for like the whole haircut. And fucking
Look like Groucho Marx.
Yeah, and then we sort of like get ready. And she goes, and you could say she's got fucking fear of God in her eyes. She knows what she's doing. She's like, right then. And
Anyway.
she starts rushing to like clean, and she's like fucking scrubbing it. I'm just like,
Easy.
ow, you're hurting me. And then I look in the mirror and I've just got fucking 2 jet black eyebrows, on my blonde head. It's the fucking maddest look. Because I was bright beetroot red as well because of the sunbeds. Beetroot red skin,
Absolutely
blonde
brilliant.
hair, jet black eyebrows.
Mate, let's recreate it.
Yeah, I look like an absolute wanker. It's like I put a couple of bits of black insulation tape above my eyes.
That's absolutely mint. Brilliant.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's a really good place to end.
It is. Right. Thanks very much for watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. And we will see you hopefully in another couple of weeks.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.
So is the Rover running now then?
Yeah, Rover is just
Shall I move
flick that. You don't need to move that.
Okay.
It's very smooth, this engine. Just flick that for us there. Oh, I haven't got keys for it. Where's the fucking keys? Let me just go and grab the keys. Won't be a second.
Okay. This reminds me of you.
What, those black things there?
Yeah.
Why? Why does that remind you of me? What are you talking about? Do you want to hear it run them?
Yeah.
It's quite good. I hope it's out of gear. Nice, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Telling you what, mate, she is sweet as a nut.
What an absolute beast.
Do you know what the beauty about that is as well? Is I was revving that from cold.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I don't give a shit.
Because you've got no mechanical sympathy.
No, what it is, I'm actually waiting for that to,
Warm up.
no, for it to die,
Oh, right.
so I can put a V8 in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks very much for watching.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you next time.